They're all big football fans, are they?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
if they're not, tell them I played for Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Yeah. Oh my God! How am I meant to do that? Is that your direct message to the owners? Right, we should probably talk about Lions.
Yes.
Hello and welcome back to the Uncaged podcast with me, John.
Me, Tom.
Sorry, I probably should have set you up there to say off the top.
I was just waiting, but yeah,
Always
it was good.
Always good. Yes, how you been, Tom?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Not bad. I've been enjoying, as a Lincoln City fan, enjoying my last month or so. We're on the verge of promotion to the Championship, so I've been very happy. Not quite the same level of results for Lions on the pitch, which is a bit sad, but other than that, really good. How about you?
Yeah, been really, really good, thanks. Obviously, we've had a bit of gaps between games because obviously we've headed into the Championship group, which obviously, as making the content, makes everything extremely harder for a football club. But no, we're deep in it now. We've got a game every weekend for the next 4 weeks. So I've been keeping myself very, very busy. But yeah, I did see about Lincoln doing incredibly well, and I knew you were going to mention something about it.
It's very difficult as well, though, because I've got to say Lincoln City, because otherwise we get confused with Lincoln Red Imps in Gibraltar, so I've got to be very, very honest.
That's the same with me. I've got to say Lincoln Red Imps and not Lincoln, because I think we had this last episode, didn't we, where I said Lincoln, and you thought I was talking about City.
Yeah, I get excited. I get too excited about it. I forget where I am sometimes.
So what league? Are they League 2 or League 1?
We're League One right now. We're currently top of the table. We've got a huge gap to the team in third place. I think we need 4 points from the next, I think it's 7 games left to go up.
Wow.
The promotion.
Yeah, so
barring any sort of major collapse, it should be done.
Well, as a West Ham fan, I'm guessing we'll be seeing you in the Championship next season then.
I kind of hope so. I kind of hope that you guys and Spurs come down, because they're the two stadiums I want to see. I'm not really bothered about going to Molineux.
I don't think
really
we can both come down. I think it's going to be one or the other.
Unfortunately, we need Burnley to go on an amazing run, and it's going to be one or the other of Spurs or West Ham, really. Or Forest, potentially.
See, obviously as a Derby season ticket holder as well, I'm really, really hoping that it is Forest, but the way that it's sort of playing out, it does look like West Ham and Spurs are going to be fighting out for it, because Forest have got the wind in their sails. Spurs are just, I don't even know what to say about Spurs right now, really.
Insane, isn't it?
It's not something I ever dreamed of. Well, I always wanted it to happen because I don't like Spurs, but you never expected it to kind of happen.
Not at all. They feel like a club that are way too big to be in the Championship, but it goes to show that no one is too big.
Exactly that, and I'll be interested to see what De Zerbi does, because his tactics are very gung-ho, I think is probably the right term, and a team in the relegation battle don't really know how that sort of tactic works. It's all or nothing, really, with De Zerbi, so it'll be interesting to see that. Right, we should probably talk about Lions.
Yes, that might be an idea, wouldn't it?
So, obviously, we do have to put our hands up and say we were wrong about our prediction for the semi-final.
Unfortunately, yes. I thought we might sneak through on penalty. I think I said penalties, didn't I? But
you said penalties. I was like, nah, we're going to win in normal time.
Wasn't quite to be in the end.
No, unfortunately not. But it was only a 2-1 again. So it just goes to show how far we've come from past seasons. Obviously, only narrowly losing to a team that was competing in the Europa Conference League this season. 1 goal, there's really nothing in it.
No, it's so frustrating to just have that 1 goal go against you, and that ruins the run for the season, because you were so close to getting to that final and the opportunity to get into Europe that way. But next season, who knows what happens next season? The brand new clean slates.
Absolutely. And there may be some changes in the rules next season in terms of, so our coefficient's gone up. So I think we discussed this last episode that we're going to get 1 extra spot, and they're looking at changing how the Championship group works. I can't say too much because the official announcement hasn't come out yet. Okay. But watch this space, because there is something interesting coming next year. And I'm not sure. Did you see the result of the final as well?
You know what? I thought it was until the end of the Championship group. I didn't.
No, it's already happened.
Oh, so Lincoln didn't win it then? Is that what we're saying?
Lincoln did win it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you get excited filling it up. I thought it was the end of the season. Sorry.
No, Monscal got blown away.
Okay.
I think it was a 4-0 in the end. Yeah,
sure.
It was.
Okay.
It was one of those that was just like, if only we'd been on the other side of the bracket and got past Monscal. I feel like we would have put up more of a fight than Monscal did. That's the big thing. So I was watching it, and it's one of those that it's so unfortunate to be drawn on the side of Lincoln.
Yeah,
it really is. Obviously, Monscal didn't have St Joseph's or Lincoln on their side, and that's what you want. Absolutely, you don't want to face either of them to the final, because when you get to a final, anything can happen. But unfortunately, Mons Calpe just weren't up to it. Got absolutely blown away. It wasn't even close. There wasn't an ounce of fight in it, really. I don't mean to degrade Mons Calpe, but yeah, it just seemed like they weren't fit for the occasion, kind of thing.
A foregone conclusion from the first whistle then.
Yeah, it really, really was. There wasn't any moment in the match where I thought, oh, Lincoln don't stand a chance here or anything like that. And speaking about Mons Calpe, I segue from that into obviously our result, our last result, the first of the championship group, where we lost to Mons Calpe 3-1. I'm not sure if you've managed to watch sort of any of that match, but we weren't really at the races. And I really don't like to say that, because I did a bit of commentary on it for some of our English viewers, because obviously it's only available in Spanish. And the frustrating thing for me was we just let them get into the game and didn't really show anything until maybe late first half, early second half. But by that point, it already got to a point where we didn't really stand a chance. Do you know, when a team is in the ascendancy for so long, gets a couple of goals in, and you're constantly chasing?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, in that sort of situation? And I always wonder, like, what the psychology, of players are in those kind of situations, when you look at the table as a player and think, okay, we've not really got a chance of winning the title. Getting second or third is quite slim. We're at the cup now. What is there much to play for this season now? We're kind of set in a position. We're not going to move up or down much at all in that situation. So I don't know if like half the players sometimes just think, okay, I can kind of relax a little bit. The pressure's off and I can just sort of coast my way through a game sometimes.
Yeah, and this is where you sort of see the players for what they are, because for me, I completely agree with what you're saying. Everything else of the season is done. This is our only chance to get into Europe. So you expect everyone to come out and be like, right, this is our only opportunity to do it. We have to put everything. And yeah, they did, obviously, eventually, but we let them get into the game. And that was our last, essentially, it's not mathematically our last chance to get into Europe. We would have to have absolutely all the stars to align for us to still to get into Europe this season. And yeah, it just surprised me, and I don't think it's down to Wally. I think the occasion just got to a lot of the players, because
understandable.
You had a couple of players. I don't want to name names, obviously, but you had a couple. I've got to be diplomatic about this. I really, really do. There were just a couple of players who are usually like our most dependable. Just a bit nervous. You could just tell there was nervousness, and I think that was because they knew this was the last remaining moment that they could get something from this season. But it'll be interesting to see, because obviously we've got a game against Europa on Saturday. It'll be interesting to see how we come back, because even though we'd have to have the best luck in the world to still get Europe, I would like us to have a really, really strong end to the season, so we could go into pre-season, obviously, on a high. Yeah,
if you get some good results against Red Imps and St Joseph's on those final few games of the season, like that would really build the confidence heading into next season in the summer. And if you keep most of the team together and the core nucleus of the squad together, then they can really build through that in the summer, and that would be a real big motivator.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we've got good at the end of the season is obviously our anniversary kit is coming out, which I can't show just yet. Again, it's one of these things that... So I've put a little teaser on our socials. So for me, I've obviously got one already, and we're going to be doing a big release with a very well-known footballer. Again, can't say too much. But it's very much like an England shirt, is what I'm going to say. So I'm not sure if you've seen the price of England shirts this summer.
Extortionate, aren't they?
Like £123 for an adult male top, which is ridiculous. I understand they've got to make their money somewhere, and the way that they're framing it is World Cup's only every 4 years, so you only have to split it by 4 and all this sort of stuff. But essentially, our anniversary kit could be the alternative to the England kit, is all I'm going to say. Also, we've got the 3 lions, we've got everything like that. You're a kit collector yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, I do enjoy a good kit. I've got quite a few of those right behind me over there,
Yeah, and when you've got that kit that's just that alternative to kind of what everyone is. So, yeah, I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. And at the end of the season, we will be wearing it for one of our final games.
Oh, that'd be cool. I'm looking forward to that.
That's going to be really, really good. And then the big push is going to be like, don't buy the England kit, buy this kit. You can still show that you're supporting England. But obviously, yeah, you're not lining the pockets. Is it Nike, I think, are doing it right now, aren't they?
I can't remember. Yeah, I think it is Nike. Yeah,
I think it's Nike,
isn't it? Yeah, the badge and the...
But yeah, obviously, World Cup summer coming up. Really, really looking forward to. Later on in the pod, we're going to have a little debate about who we think should be starting for England.
Okay.
So yeah, get thinking about that. I think there's going to be some we're going to disagree on, but
Yeah,
to
I
be
need to
honest,
start writing it down. Actually, start writing down what I think we should be,
So
because that's how I
this
get
is
it in my
this
head.
is the thing. I think I'm in a position where I'll let you speak first, and then mine might change. Like if you're
Okay.
like, oh, actually, yeah, that's a good idea. I might not have thought of someone. I think obviously some of the positions will pick themselves, but
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. So it's your turn to ask me is it keep, bench, sell? Obviously, I gave you a really, really tough one last podcast, didn't I?
Yes. So I have been thinking I should make it even tougher for you.
Wow. Okay.
I know you're a West Ham boy, so I think I should go for West Ham legends on this one.
Oh no.
So I'd like you to keep, bench, sell Paolo Di Canio, Mark Noble, Jared Bowen.
Those
three, please.
How am I meant to do that?
Like, you can't really, can you? Can't really. And I thought I'd go for those three because they're more recent legends in the grand scheme of things.
Well, they are more recent, but the thing is that so I grew up watching Di Canio, then I watched Mark Noble, and now I'm watching Jared Bowen. So you've literally picked like all three different. Oh, I don't know how I can do this.
I mean, as a non-West Ham fan, I think I have an idea in my head of where I would go with it.
Yeah, so I let me take a guess. You would probably sell Mark Noble. Is that correct?
I was thinking more sell Bowen.
Really?
Yeah.
He's been our best player for the last God knows how many years. That's the issue that we've got here. And yes, he obviously came from Hull and he's only been there for whatever, but he won us our only trophy that I've seen in my lifetime. So it's a really, really big thing. And most people, I think, would sell Mark Noble because he's not that world-class player that Di Canio and Bowen are.
Yeah.
But for me, it's hard because he's Mr. West Ham.
Literally, that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give an answer, but I honestly have no idea how I'm going to go with this.
I wanted to make you squirm. This is good.
Oh, I think I'm going to have to go on impact of the player and the way that they fought for the badge as well.
Yes.
Is the way that I'm going to go with this.
Very important.
So is it start, bench, sell, isn't it?
Yeah.
Start, bench, sell. So I'm going to start Jared Bowen.
Okay.
I'm going to bench Mark Noble.
Wow.
And I'm going to sell. That's such a bad. I hate saying that out loud.
Yeah, I thought you'd go the other way around. I thought you'd be starting Di Canio, but I don't know if that's just because in my head he's kind of like built up as quite a big legend sort of thing, and actually maybe
he is. But the way what I took into account is the impact for the club. So Mark Noble was just a mainstay for 20 odd years at West Ham. He was Mr. Consistent. He would wear his heart on his sleeve, like for his whole career was at West Ham.
Yeah.
Jared Bowen has won us a European Cup and has essentially kept us in the Premier League for the last X amount of years. Di Canio, absolutely incredible player. I hated saying to sell him, but he was very much an individual player.
Yeah.
That had these big moments, which I think is why people outside of West Ham will think, oh, he's such a legend and all of this.
Yeah.
He was a great player, but he's not had the impact that Mark Noble and sort of Jared Bowen have had.
He was only there for 4 or 5 years, right, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he wasn't without his controversies, of course.
Yes, yeah.
But I think a lot of players from that sort of era had very much their controversies within football.
Yeah, it wasn't uncommon, was it?
No, I'm thinking back to like Robbie Fowler, Roy Keane punching the Irish manager. I remember that. Yeah, was that during the World Cup or Euros? I can't remember.
I can't remember which one it was now, but yeah, he was sent home from the camp, wasn't he? He was sent home from the competition. So
was it Mick McCarthy was manager at the time?
I feel like it could have been, to be fair.
And if it is,
look back to check, but
Roy Keane against Mick McCarthy.
It's a bit of a one street fight there.
Wow, yeah, that's something. Oh, right. Let's do predictions for. I know we're really, really good at predictions on this podcast.
Yeah, we're very good. 100% record so far of not getting them right.
Yeah, absolutely. For the rest of the season, obviously there's 4 games left.
Yeah.
So obviously we've got Europa first, Lincoln Red Imps, then Lynx, then St Joseph's. Right. What are you thinking?
So I think I like how also on the website it's described as home and away, even though it's all the same stadium.
It's same stadium. It's really, really hard to tell English fans that they are still classed as home and away, despite the fact they're played at the same stadium.
It's funny, isn't it? But I think with the home crowd advantage against Europa, I think we should be beating Europa. I think it'll be quite a tight game, as all the games should be in the Championship group, right? It's the top teams, the best teams, right? So, but I think it'll be a narrow win there for Lions, and I think we'll see 2-0 probably there.
Okay.
Lincoln Red Imps, I reckon we can get a draw out of this one. I think that'll be a tough game. Lincoln are still fighting very much for the title. They are top of the table now, having played a few of their games at hand, right? But I think we could get a draw in that sort of game. Inks should be a good win for us, I think. And I reckon we can get 2 or 3 past them, if I'm honest with you. And then St. Joseph's will be very tough on the final day of the season. This very much depends, for me, on if they're still in the title fight on that final day of the season. If Lincoln slip up somewhere, St. Joseph's still going to be in that fight. If they are, I think they're going to overpower us, and I think they probably will just end up inching towards winning that game. But if they are out of that title race, Lincoln have already won it by that point. I suspect they may have seen some heads drop and just thought, we've just not got the steam to get in that title fight, and then Lions will get the win.
Yeah. And that's the thing, it catch-22 with this, because if we do manage to get a draw against Lincoln Reds, then that means that St. Joseph's are going to be even more hungry to beat us on the last game of the season.
Exactly, yeah.
It's very much like that. And obviously, Lynx are the only team below us in the tables. Mine actually very much closely mirrors yours. So I'll go for the win against Europa just because we need it. We need a good result. Yes, our season may potentially be over, but we've got to end on a high, like I've mentioned before. So I think it'd be great to keep a clean sheet. I'm not sure if you saw last game. So our number one goalkeeper is now actually out for the season, Nando. Yeah, completely just, it's been a very busy week. I completely forgot to mention that. So we actually had Jordan Perez, who is our third choice, technically, goalkeeper, who's not played at all this season. He made 3 appearances last year, I think it was. So he's now our number one goalkeeper. Because Conrad, who's our backup, is also injured. So the back end of the season will most likely have Jordan in goal. But he came on, obviously, during the last game and did not put a foot wrong. He conceded 1 goal, but it absolutely was not his fault whatsoever. Yeah. So I don't know whether that changes your predictions at all.
No, not at all. I think he's got a point to prove here, and he's going to really try and make a name for himself from the end of the season and try and put himself firmly in Wally's plans for next season.
And this is the thing. I don't think he expected to play, obviously, at all, being third choice goalkeeper. He was a former Gibraltar number 1 as well.
Oh, wow.
I think he's about 40, 41. So, yeah, he was definitely looking at the back end of his career thinking, right, I'm done now and whatever. But no, like I said, when he came on, he was absolutely great. So I'd love to get a clean sheet in his first full game against Europa. Back in the goals as well. Obviously, we've only scored 1 against Montcalm. We only scored 1 against Lincoln Red Imps. So hopefully we get 2 or 3 goals. We'll get Mika back in the goals again. Lucas hasn't scored in a couple of games as well, so it'd be good to see him on the score sheet. So I'm going to go for a very brave 3-0 win against Europa, just because I think we're going to come out fighting. So Lincoln Red Imps. Again, I would love a draw. We've showed so many signs that we are close to getting a point off them. It'll be a score draw. It definitely won't be a 0-0 draw. There's just too much quality on the pitch with us and them, both quality on the pitch. So I'll go for a 1-1, I think, against Lincoln Red Imps. Maybe a 2-2, dependent on who gets the first goal. Inks, I'd love to see us win. It's the game we should win if we are to win any of our next games. So I'll go for a 2-0 against Lynx, just because it's going to be the second to last game of the season. Our hopes of Europe are going to be over. It's really hard to pick up the players when there's not really much on the line, is there? Yeah. So, and then St. Joseph's, it does depend on where it sort of sits. If they've got nothing to play for as well, I think it changes the game. But obviously, last time we played St. Joseph, they blew us away 4-0. So it's hard to see anything other than them winning, except if they slip up drawing and they are stuck in second place with nothing to play for. Obviously, they'll still have qualifiers for the Conference League next year or Europa next year.
Yes.
Which starts, like, as you know from playing FM, starts in like the middle of summer. So they'll be thinking ahead, like, oh, maybe in a month we've got to go to Kazakhstan to play this team for qualifying. So maybe like, let's actually rest some players, you know, like we don't need to go all out. We don't need to risk any of our main players getting injuries when we are 3-4 weeks away from playing arguably some of the biggest games. But yeah, it does just depend on where we are. I think we end up finishing 5th where we are right now, due to other results and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're pretty aligned there, actually, aren't we? With what we're
which is shocking because we never usually are.
No, but it's good that.
I think mine's more of wishful thinking because the lads have had a tough season. It doesn't seem like a long season, but it is because of how far it stretches for the games that you've got to play. And I can't state how different the quality is from Lions to, say, Lincoln Red Imps, for example. Like the money that Lincoln Red Imps have, the monopoly over the league, the Gibraltar players. They were playing in European competition this year and did a good account of themselves.
Yes,
and were
so
unlucky.
Close to qualifying for the knockouts, weren't they?
Exactly. It can't be understated, the difference in quality. To really fight against, like I said, last 2 results against Lincoln Red Imps, 2-1 both times, is phenomenal. And I don't think that should be forgotten.
Not at all, not at all. They've had a really good season and they are a very, very good team. So to come close to them and even get a draw is a huge result.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just hoping for the boys, for Wally, that we could just get that over the line. Speaking of Wally, we essentially have football royalty joining us. So what I will do is I will see if he's available and get him in.
He's such a legend, yeah. I feel like he's got such a history behind him, being part of a lot of iconic teams as well. It'd be really good to ask him a few questions about that and if he really was the leader of the Crazy Gang.
Yeah. So what they say is they call him a mainstay and as an instigator of the Crazy Gang. Hi, Wally. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
Yes, good. Thank you. Good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
No problem.
Before we sort
Does
of
it look all right? Because I've got it all set up a bit fun here and on bit books and God knows what.
No,
background all right?
Great. Yeah, right. All looks good. Sound looks good. Yeah, all of that. So before we kind of get into the nitty gritty of it, Wally, I just wanted to go through your sort of career to date. Because I think a lot of fans for Lions Gibraltar don't actually know the extent of your experience in the game. So I'm just going to reel off. You're obviously well versed in what's happened in your career, but I'm just going to kind of reel off the timeline today and some of the highlights and achievements.
They're all big football fans, are they?
Yeah.
Because if they're not, tell them I played for Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, so obviously you started your career at Wimbledon. You got loaned out to Newport County, played for Sheffield United.
Are you looking at Wikipedia?
No, I've literally... So Tom and I were just discussing this. Your Wikipedia doesn't have your full career.
All right. I broke my leg and I went on loan to Newport for a month.
Yeah, so you were on loan at Newport and then you ended up at Sheffield United and you went on loan to Hayes. And obviously that was...
No, that was the end of my career. That was Hayes.
Yeah.
When I packed up.
Yeah. And then you ended up coaching at Crystal Palace for 12 years under Steve Coppell.
No.
I'll let you list your history because this is what I could get online. I thought I was doing a really good thing here of saying, yeah, this is what I've got. So I'll let
That's Wikipedia. 12 years at Crystal Palace is Wikipedia.
Okay. Do you want to go through your career? Because obviously it looks like Wikipedia has got this completely wrong.
Yeah. Well, I started. When I packed up. I went to Millwall. Had a year at Millwall, and then I had 4 years at Palace, and then I left Palace, and I went to Sheffield United for 3 years. Came back. I was living up north, so I went to Bury for a year because my house was rented out, and we won the league up there. Came back, went to Brentford, coached there for 2 years, and then managed Brentford. That was 2000. Went to Reading, 2003-04. We got promoted, won the league, record points, 2627. Where did I go then? Left there, went to Southampton, West Ham, got promoted to the Premier League, QPR, got promoted to the Premier League. Then I think I went to India. Then I came back from India and managed Wimbledon. Left Wimbledon and went to Jamaica for 4 years and then topped up here.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what you've said there with all the promotions that you've had and kind of everything like that. So I'm actually a boyhood West Ham fan. Before I joined Lions, I knew about you because you were under Avram Grant and Sam Allardyce, weren't you?
Yeah.
And I kind of remember everything going there. So this is one that I've wanted to book it. Obviously, it's only the second episode, and I was saying we have to. I think Tom was saying it as well. We want Wally on the second episode.
Who's Tom?
Tom's here.
Oh, Tom, how you doing, Tom?
Yeah. No, yeah, I was just excited to get to know more about your career and coaching experience, really, because I find it really fascinating how coaches move around to different clubs. Is this a case of you're headhunted for a lot of these clubs, or is there kind of like a job board that goes around?
Well, I was only headhunted. Well, not headhunted once. When Alex Ferguson got rid of Walter Smith, or Walter Smith went up to Rangers. He's big. There was a lot of the managers who were all the same sort of age then, and Fergie was the king of them, obviously. And he asked all the ones who was having reasonable success, who they had and what they would do, what they were doing. And Jim Smith said Steve McLaren. He put Steve McLaren forward. Dave Bassett put me forward. I didn't get as far as an interview, but that's the way they used to do it. Managers would talk. If he's any good, would he suit us? So basically, it's all the managers all knowing one another, and if they're of a higher echelon, just saying down, look, how do you feel? Would he be able to step up, and would he be able to come here? And that manager would either say yay or nay. So very similar to the players.
Okay.
So who have you worked with the most? Is it Steve Coppell that you've probably worked with the most?
Yeah. We did 4 years at Palace. They keep saying that Glasner's Palace's best ever manager. We finished third in the Premier League in Division 1, but we couldn't get into Europe because of the Heysel thing.
Oh, yeah.
And at Wimbledon, we finished sixth when I was playing. Couldn't get in because of Heysel. So that's twice I didn't make it into Europe. That's what sort of bugged me a little bit. And one of the reasons I've thought about coming here. It's a chance to get in and do something that I felt I'd been robbed of twice.
Yeah,
definitely.
Which we had.
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate to hear that not once, but twice there was an opportunity for you to get into Europe, and it didn't kind of work out.
And then when Terry Venables took over, Terry Venables was going to be the Ireland manager, but I think they gave it to Tarantini. No, which one was it? Can't remember. But Terry didn't. He was going to take me to Ireland with him as his assistant because we had 3 Ireland players in the Reading team: Shane Long, Kevin Doyle, Stephen Hunt. And he thought, it'd be a good way to get in and amongst them. But Terry, they didn't give Terry the job on the last minute and went with the Italian guy who ballsed it all up for him. So
yeah, that seems like an odd choice from the Irish FA there.
Yeah, get it up. I can't remember which one it was. It wasn't.
I'll let Tom's always good at finding out what it was. So Tom will have a little.
What year was it roughly? Irish.
It was the old grey-headed guy. 2006, 5, 4, 7.
2005. Oh yeah, it was.
Trapattoni.
Yeah, Trapattoni was 2008, 2013. Yeah, qualified for Euro 2012.
That was it. Yeah. Well, they was going to give that to Terry at the time. Terry was getting that job at one stage.
Interesting. So I want to go more into, obviously, your very storied career, but let's talk about Lions, obviously, this season. Obviously, it's your first season with Lions and kind of everything that's kind of gone on this season. So you touched on it a little bit about how there is UEFA qualification potentially in the Gibraltar League, but what really, really drew you to Lions?
The fact that it was a project, in my job for the last 30, 40 years, you have hanging over your head that you're going to be, you're only 3 or 4 games away from the sack. I mean, you could have a really good team, you could be up the top. If you lose a player and someone gets suspended and the team, it's a bit bad patch of form, you could lose 4 on the trot and draw 1, and all of a sudden, your job's in jeopardy nowadays. I'd had that, and I live with it. I know how it works. I'm a big boy. You get to a stage, and I'd been talking to Gary about. Gary had tried to sign one of the players that I'd signed in Jamaica. We give 12 grand for him out of a field in Jamaica, and sold him to the Italian first player to go to the Italian Premier League for 800 grand, Salernitana, and he knew me from one of our players at Reading used to be with Gary, and so he was trying to sort of get in on that deal and try and get that guy and move him somewhere. So I became aware of this project then and what he was trying to do, and that was about 3 or 4 years ago. So we used to speak intermittently, and I'd ask how it was going on and how they were getting there, and it took a long while to do. So it was always in my mind, and I knew I wouldn't stay in Jamaica. I didn't want to renew my time in Jamaica again, and I came home, and it cropped up again. And the idea of actually going somewhere, building something, and knowing what the target is, and you're not bound by immediate results. You literally come in to try and start something, not from nothing, because the club was here, but had no real success, I don't think, previously. And with those targets in mind, to achieve the European status and to bring players through showcase them in Europe, move them on, improve their lives, and make the club sustainable. And that for me at that stage of my career was an inducement, because I'd had the same sort, not the same sort of thing, but when I went to Jamaica, they were in the Jamaican Premier League, but it wasn't very professional, and I had to take 4 coaches, sports scientists, and they wanted international standards there for the same reason. Get into the CONCACAF Cup, which they did, win the league, get players in the national team. You know, it was an English guy who owned it, and he'd gone out there and bought the club from Sunday morning up into the Premier League. Because billionaires being billionaires, they just want to win every week. When they got in the Premier League and he weren't winning every week, heads had to roll. You know, he couldn't realise that then they could whiz through the leagues to a point, but then you had to be organised and you had to have a structure. And that's when he decided to bring us in. Well, asked me to bring some international English coaches in, which I did, and that I found that very fulfilling, because although you're worried about your immediate results always, there is a longer term project to it, and you're building something else and looking at young kids, how they're going to come through, what's their pathway. Yeah, and that, having done that in Jamaica and made a success of it, I knew that I could take it anywhere. I was close to taking it to the UAE at one stage, you know, with in one of the lower leagues there. I said, look, I know it's all government run and you've got lots of money, but I said, why don't you let me come and put this in place at a small club? You see how it works, what the structure is, and how a Premier club would do it in England at your place. We don't have to win. You can monitor us. And they were very interested in that. But it's like Russian dolls. You speak to 10 people to get to the 11th. There might be, to get the yes from the 30th guy, you have to go through everybody. And I got past about 10 different calls like this and proposals and stuff, and then it just went quiet. So it's obviously got to someone somewhere who thought, no, we don't like that. So yeah, I mean, it was the thought of a project that I could come and build and be part of, while also having the thrill of games every week.
So how do you feel your first season in charge has gone then? How are you working towards those objectives and the projects, and how do you feel it's gone?
It's been difficult because of what I inherited. I don't really want to be anti what went before, but there was a lot of problems with the previous guy, the shareholder guy, and the players that I inherited, some were getting on a bit. I don't really want to have a go at them on the podcast, but I had to sort of restructure it in a very short period of time. I think I had 4 weeks, no pre-season friendlies. I spent the first month in the back room with a video, just looking at players who I didn't know, who agents had sent, and I really had to pick players from YouTube clips and what agents sent, which is always very difficult. You never see them make a bad pass. So I had to cobble a team together quickly, and had to sort of put a plan in place very quickly, and kept it simple, and got 2 big guys up front, strong fellas up front, played a little bit more direct than I'd normally do, just to get a bit of foundation in there. And give them their due, they took to it very well to start with. I mean, we were going behind in games because I didn't really have any structure of a back four or anything, but were showing some balls to come through and get the wins. We were going 1-0 down, 2-0 down. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But, get them in at half time, get into them, and they resurrected it against not the best teams, I must say. But it still took some doing when you're behind. So it was trying to get something going, trying to get some momentum initially, and get me to the first transfer window where I could sort of move people in, move people out, move people around. And that sort of happened. We give ourselves a good start, got to January, but just after Christmas, we inexplicably lost 2 games to 2 of the low teams. I think it was Europa Point and someone else. But, I mean, I've been through the games, both games stacks of times. The stats on it, the shots, the attacks, everything. It was a complete mismatch. The ref would have stopped it if it was a boxing match. That happens. But the problem is, in a shortened league like this, you get punished a bit quicker. With only 20 games, you can't lose those 2 games. From January onwards, we got the 2 Senegalese boys came in, give us a different way to play. Signed a couple of Gibraltar guys, strengthened the team, I think. Brought the average age down. And I think we've progressed. We've scored a lot of goals. We got closer to Lincoln in the 2 games, both 2-1 affairs. Very unfortunate last week with the game that we lost 3-1. 2 of them cups in there. How they managed them 2, I'll never know. Yeah. Moose dancing around on the floor with a ball falling over, and then Ben with that back pass. It could have been just prior to that. The big fella had a great 1v1, should have been 2-2, But, you get punished. If that had been against any other than St Joseph, if it weren't Lincoln or St Joseph's or Mons Calpe, those two mistakes might not have been punished. But when you play against the better teams, and that applies all around the world, when you play in the Premiership, you can only make a half a mistake and it's punished. Two horrific blunders like that, they deserve to get punished. I can live with mistakes. The boys either learn from their mistakes, or if the mistakes keep going, they go. You have to get rid of them. When people get to a certain age and they're still making mistakes, you can only guide them. If those mistakes are inherent in them at that stage, then all you can do is try and use them to the best of your ability within the team until such time as you can get better.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that Tom and I kind of discussed beforehand is how hard it must be having no pre-season with a whole new squad and whole new players. When you just don't get a pre-season, I just can't imagine how hard that must be.
Well, I'd never experienced anything like it, but I hate the term. It is what it is. But you're here. You've got to get on with it. You've got to get going. You've got to make the best of it. We were training at two different places, different time allocations. It was all new to me. We had no base, so we're going and picking up kit and travelling around. And some people have got to work. It's completely new to me. So what I had to do, I had to make sure that I was very sort of lenient in my approach. I couldn't treat these guys the way I treated pros back in England. It's not that way, Football's not the Gibraltar boys' primary income stream, so I have to be loose with that, and they come when they want. But everything else is every club I go to, if I'm the assistant or the first team coach, I normally finish up running the training ground, whether it's Redknapp, Steve Coppell, Allardyce. You have your meetings. They tell you what they want to do and what the plan for the week is and how everybody is. But then you get on with it. They come out and they look, they observe, they walk around. Sam used to like to take a session on a Thursday morning with the coaches. Steve never would. So I'm in charge of running that, that has to run smoothly. Training sessions with reserves, when the reserves come over, how many's in the squad, what we're going to do, the plan for the week, blah, blah, blah. Here, you just can't do that here because the kit man turns up 5 minutes before the gate's up. Our training allocations are from 8 till 10 most days. Now, I like to be, if we're training at 10:30 in England, I'm out on the training field at 8:30 putting my session on, putting my everything out. So they walk in, they're ready to go, bang, 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 bang. 70 minutes, whatever it is, they're not moving. Drink station, boom, into there, and it runs smoothly. Here, Largo sort of turns up with a van at 5 to 8 with all the equipment in there. That's not a problem for it. That's no swipe at him because they don't open the facility till 8. If you work for the council, you're not going to get there an hour before just to let me in. Your job is 8 till 4 or whatever it is. They turn up at 8 o'clock. The gates at 8 o'clock. Lights come on at 10 past. Players can go in and shower. I don't get set up till 8:25. And if we finish at 10, we got to start bringing our gear off at 9:45 because there's the under-9s girls hockey team waiting to come on. So that's the logistical side of it is was incredibly difficult to start with. Very, very difficult to start with. You tend to get in. I'm into like a rhythm and a routine of that now, but it's not a good routine. I can't sort of ever spend time doing a bit of individual work after training finishes because I say the hockey team come on. I can't say to the boys, like 3 or 4 of you, right, come back tomorrow afternoon, we'll do a bit of finishing, or you 5 come on Friday and we'll do a bit of defensive work because everything's allocated because it's so small. There's nowhere to go. So improving individuals is difficult. I know that's part of the job here with the players that we get in from Senegal and places like that, or far-flung bits of the world. They need the work. They need more than 2 hours or an hour and 40 minutes a day. They need gym work in the afternoon. They need extra technical work. They need analysis and stuff like that. They need the information to make them better. And you can't even get a room at the sports centre. Most of the time now, I have them back to my front room and trying to cram 20 people in. Yeah, but so I do it individually, But, it's the same for everyone. Well, it's not the same for everyone because the top 2 teams are like Rangers and Celtic, really. They've had that European money for 20 years and you're not catching them up anytime soon. I'd see their staff pull up in a lovely big van every day. 8 or 9 staff jump out, bang, 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 it's all done, They never get the 8 o'clock shift as well. They can come in at 9:30, sit on the side, ready to put their gear out. We're in at 8. So there's some politics there as well. Anyway, enough of that. But yeah, it was difficult to start with, and we're in a bit of a rhythm now. It's not ideal. It's unfortunate. The only way that we may be able to do something is if we could, and that's a budgetary thing, I suppose, with the owners, if we could sort of rent somewhere in La Linea, which is only like 15 minutes, like 2 hours a week, 2 sessions a week, Thursday afternoon and Tuesday afternoon, go and take the youngsters over there and do some technique work for an hour. So we'll have to expand and look into that this year.
Is that your direct message to the owners?
No, that's a meeting on Thursday.
And you mentioned it before, obviously, about the results that we've had against League of Red Imps the last 2-1, 2-1, and obviously only losing to Mons Calp after 2 mistakes. It's clear to see the progress that you've made since you've come in.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Right, Tom, I'll let you do the first question. I know you've got a couple of questions that you want to ask Wally about his career.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to your Wimbledon days here. I wanted to ask you a bit about your days in the Crazy Gang, because what I've seen online is you're one of the instigators, apparently, of the Crazy Gang. How true is that, and what was your sort of involvement with it all?
Well, I was Wimbledon's first apprentice.
Cool.
So I was right at the start of it. I was the only apprentice when they got in the league. So everybody who came in after that was I was given a rough time by the old seasoned professionals because they were non-league players. They'd won you never used to go now you go from the National League straight in if you get promoted. In those days, you didn't get the 92 clubs had to vote you in if they thought you were good enough and you could add to the league. Now Wimbledon won the league 3 times and didn't get voted in. But then the final time they got voted in, and by the time they got voted in, people like Dave Bassett, Dave Donaldson, some really, really good amateur international players, 50, 60 England caps, 50 Wales caps. They were like 32, 33. Dave Bassett had his own insurance business. Roger Connor was a hippie, so didn't want to go full time. Dave Donaldson was Billy Edwards was a police officer. He was a detective. Dave Donaldson was an air traffic controller, and they weren't going to give up their jobs and come and play 4th division football with the chance of losing their pensions or probably not even earning as much. So they were playing sort of non-league football twice a week training against seasoned pros, a little bit similar to what I've just said here. And and they took me on as the first apprentice, and I was their dog's body for a year. And although it was a tough upbringing, put it that way for me.
Yeah, I can imagine that was a very difficult one. I assume, because obviously the story is you had a player to clean their boots right, but if you're the only apprentice, were you cleaning everyone's boots?
No one's. I did sod all. Refused to do it all.
That sounds like the Wally I've heard about. Yeah. Okay.
No. But to be fair, they were amateurs and they were used to bringing their own boots in and taking them out. So I had a free run, but I mean I was a bit lively, put it that way.
Okay. Yeah, that was a very diplomatic answer.
Yeah. Well, they was giving me, when I was at school, they gave me, my last year at school, they gave me £5 a week taxed as a schoolboy, and then when I came in as an apprentice, they gave me £25 a week, which was the going rate. But I had a business. I had a fruit and veg stall in Shepherd's Bush Market that.
Nice.
I used to earn good money on this.
Yeah.
When they used to tell me what clean the boots and do this and that and want to find me fivers and all that, it didn't really hold. So I was a little bit independent of them.
I like that.
At 16, 17, a bit trappy. The truth's known. Well, trappy barra boy.
It shows that you've got the sort of the can-do attitude, right, and the sort of the balls to go out there and make a name for yourself in that sort of way. So is that?
Yeah.
Do you sort of credit that to how you stayed in that Wimbledon team so long, especially going from 4th division all the way to the top division and staying in that team all the way through?
Yeah, but we sort of, everyone who came in sort of blended into what we had. I sort of took it on from Bassett's guys who were, equally sort of lively and full of themselves. Dave Bassett encouraged that. He saw something in me that he liked, and when people came in, and he used to run the youth team. He used to run the reserves while he still played, and he encouraged you to be gregarious. He encouraged you to try things on the field. He encouraged us to be light-hearted off the field and enjoy our work, and that's what we were. And he got a group of players together, young players, who would, run over a cliff for him in the reserves. And then when Dario Gradi got fired and Dave took over, he promoted a few of us with him, and he trusted how good we were as 18, 19-year-olds and sort of promoted us in as a group, and we repaid him with that. And a lot of that, I think I looked at a photo the other day. There was 11 players who'd played in every division when we started, and there were 9 players. I think we beat Everton in the quarterfinals. Was it 5th round of the cup? We beat Everton, and there were 8 players in there who'd come through the youth team.
Wow,
and now that just doesn't happen.
No,
It just
Completely
doesn't
unheard
happen.
of, really.
And that was the Everton team that had won the league and the European Cup the year before.
What would you say was the main difference in those days from 4th division level to 1st division level then in terms of the quality of players? How different really was it?
The 4th division and the 3rd division, as they were then, it was a battle. I mean, when we were in the 4th division, the closest club we had to us was Northampton going up. And the closest one we had in the south was Plymouth. So we went to Northampton, was a close game. Then you're up at Hartlepool, Halifax, all of those.
Yeah.
And down south, Plymouth. So we was in that bus, 5 or 6 hours every game. And when you got up there, you had a very, very physical game to contend with. And we got bashed up. We got bashed up, something alarming a lot of the times up there. Character building.
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. So obviously, I've got to ask you something about West Ham, being a boyhood West Ham fan. So obviously, you were under Avram and Sam. How did those environments differ?
Avram was a very, very nice man. Probably the best connected man in football. And the players all liked him. He liked the players. And Sam was brought in to win games. And that was the difference. It's a bit of a stretch. Charlotte, he's a nice guy. He comes into a football club, he puts his arm around them, he talks to them, encourages them to play, gets the best out of them. Mourinho comes in, bam, 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 you're doing this, you're doing that. So Avram was, if you gave him a good team, he'd make friends with everybody, write the team out, get a formation, trust them to go out like he did at Chelsea. Sam was completely different. Sam would come through, he's pretty much my age. His mentor was Ian Greaves, who was a big friend of Dave Bassett's, who was mine. So we'd been reared together the same sort of way. And when David appointed Sam, he made a point of ringing me up and asking me to stay on. And what David did, he said, "Look, you got a year." He said, "You got a year." He said, "I'll give you another, I think, 5 or 6 million quid to spend at that stage." He said, "I won't make you sell everybody." Although it was pretty obvious that Scotty Parker was going to go. He didn't want to stay and play for us. And West Ham was happy to get the money in. But we were under no illusions from David that, I'll fund it as a promotion campaign for a year. Second year, it'll have to be slashed. And I would imagine Sam would have walked away after that first year if he hadn't have done it. So we knew from the get-go what we were doing. And to be fair to West Ham fans, if you're in a championship, okay, fine, you've messed up, you're in a championship, you better be in the top 4 all year. If you're at West Ham, top 2 really, but top 4 at a push. And we was in the top 4 all year, and it was getting a bit wonky with the fans even then. So you know where you are with the Hammers fans, that's for sure.
Yeah, you definitely do. You definitely do.
And I loved my time at West Ham because as a coach at the time, you weren't getting into Chelsea because they had Mourinho and they had foreign managers coming in and bring all their own staff. Tottenham at the time, pretty much the same. They were just going down the route of Christian Gross and people like that. English clubs in the top division had foreign owners and foreign coaches coming in. West Ham, English owners, English manager, English captain. It was probably as high as I could get in London. So, I was Wenger at the Arsenal. He had all his own coaches around him, French guys.
Yeah.
So for me to get to West Ham was a great honour for me, and it's probably the highest that I could achieve at the time, the way things were going with managements and coaches and stuff like that. So it was a great honour to be there, and it was my dad's club when he was a kid. So I really enjoyed going back there, and it was great to get him into the Premier League.
Yeah, and this is the thing from one West Ham fan. I obviously have loads of friends who are West Ham fans, and we remember that time with you there very fondly. So, like I said, when I had the opportunity to come to Lions to be with you, it was a great honour for me.
Who would you say is the best player you've ever worked with then across your career?
Oh, blimey!
We can have a selection if picking one's too difficult.
Best player I ever worked with. Suppose the best finisher, Ian Wright.
Yeah, he's got to be up there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's in the mix, right? That's for sure. Demba Ba was very good at West Ham. Stevie Sidwell was terrific at Reading at the time. Goalkeepers, Rob Green was great. Marcus Hanneman was fantastic at Reading. You put me on the spot there. I really never thought about that.
You're not going to like the last section when we get to it then, because it's quick fire questions we do it.
Oh no, I'll be all right with that. But it's very difficult because they all got. I mean, Shane Long, Kevin Doyle, fantastic players for Ireland. When you go back I mean, Don Shanks came into Wimbledon when I was a kid. He played in that great QPR team in 1976. Terrific players. Although I played with him, didn't coach him.
You've been lucky across your career then.
Well,
hard work, Tom. Hard work.
Thank you.
Yeah, as in
Thank
lucky
you.
to experience all these different players and get the different environments.
Oh yeah. But I mean, and the older you get, and to be still working with young people, that's the terrific thing. It doesn't matter what level you're at, you're still a coach, and you find how to improve players, and that's very fulfilling.
Yeah. Well, I've got one final question before we move on. Well, you've got two questions from the fans, but what I wanted to know personally was, obviously, your playing career was cut very short due to obviously your broken legs.
Just when the Sky money came in.
Oh no! But I suppose.
And I left Wimbledon just before we won the cup final as well.
Oh no! So there's that luck, Tom. There's definitely no luck there.
Yeah.
In terms of the playing career. The two things, obviously, with that massive setback is one. First of all, how do you even recover from that?
From which one?
So with your 4 broken legs and having to sort of.
Well, what happened? I broke my knee. I broke my kneecap when I was 16 at Wimbledon, and I had a year out and came back from there. Said to me I wouldn't play again after that, and I always ran with a bit of a funny limp, which may have impeded me and didn't allow me to be as good as I could have been, I think. And I played 240 games by the time I was 23. Wow. And by the time I packed up when I was 27, I'd played 256. I broke a leg, had a year out, broke a leg, broke 4 years on the trot, the leg broke. So that was the hugely disappointing thing about that. I'm coming back, putting a year's graft in, and they were all completely different breaks. They weren't related. And in the end, much as I wanted to, I just didn't have another one in me, to be fair.
4 is a lot to come back from in the first place. I just can't imagine the resilience you must have had. And obviously, back when you were obviously playing, they didn't have the infrastructure in place that they do now in terms of with the physios and the mental well-being and all that sort of stuff. So to come back from 3 is absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was, and you were on your own. A couple of times I went up to Lilleshall, the National Sports Centre, and rehabbed up there, but it's very difficult. Very difficult.
Yeah, I can bet. And do those injuries, have they influenced the way that you coach? Would you say?
The injuries, no,
not at all. Okay.
Well,
before I move on, carry on.
The knees influence about how much I can demonstrate now. That's just. The knees wobbling about a little bit more than it used to.
Before I move on to fan questions, Tom, have you got anything else?
No, let's get on to those fan questions, shall we?
Okay, so I've picked 2 tame ones. There were some other ones, but I won't go into them. I told Tom it, and Tom was like, yeah, probably shouldn't.
Well, probably should. Dare you?
Okay, well, it was just like, how much do you want John to lose his job is one of the questions.
Who, you?
Yeah, me.
Not as much as Lucas did when you put him in that one that you put up that day. Absolutely. And I was a bit wary today, but then I realised it was April Fool's Day as well. So before I started seething too much.
That's the thing. I was just like, to be fair, the Wimbledon fans on Twitter have been absolutely loving it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Wimbledon fans. It's been shared with a few old Wimbledon fans. And I was saying, he could definitely still do a job. We'll stick him in and everything like that. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun today. So, this is from Paul on Facebook. What's the best game you've ever seen live that you weren't involved in?
Wow. England, Scotland World Cup when Gascoigne got that great goal.
Very good choice.
And also England when Beckham got the free kick
against Greece.
Against Greece, yeah.
Wow.
I mean that sort of got him united. But I tell you what, that day he was useless.
Yeah,
honestly, He was shooting from 40 yards. He was trying way too hard. And I was sitting there with my son at the time. And I said, he's got to just clip this into the middle. It's the last minute. Stick it up the back post. We've got 6, 7 people in the box. And as he's gone, I thought, oh, no. But trust your ability, you know. But believe me, if you ever watch that game back, he was everywhere, doing everything and doing it all badly. But great result.
I remember that game. I think the whole team was the same. It was not a great performance from England.
Yeah.
But
well, everybody was trying too hard. You know, it was a massive, massive game.
Yeah. We have another question. This is from Stan on TikTok. He's one of our younger followers. So he's currently working through, trying to start his coaching badges. And what he wanted to ask was, how do you get into a pathway into that management sort of structure these days?
At what level?
So he just from the very bottom. So I think he's 16 years old. So he's starting maybe his lowest badge. What's the best bit? What's the best bit of advice you can give him? Really,
best bit of advice is go to his local club, whatever level it is. If there's an under-18 team, and assist.
Okay.
If there's a coach there, go and assist. Offer your services. See what they do. Round the balls up. Set the things up for the guy, because you'll be setting sessions up for the rest of your life. Go and do this with a guy. Get used to pacing out your distances. Work out how you move from session to session and plan stuff there. You know, that's the best way. Get organised first. See how proper coaches organise their sessions, not what they do. Get your setup right, because if he puts a session on 2 years' time and he's putting on a 6v6 transition or a keep ball session and the dimensions are no good and it doesn't work, forget it. Tell him to go, offer his services to his local club. All coaches I know, if you're a coach and you're approached by someone young like that who wants to come along and help you, can I help you with a kit? Can I help do this? Can I watch your sessions? Coaches will always help you out that way. Tell him to do that. Do that for 6, 7 months. All of a sudden, an opportunity will come for him there. The coach will like him. He might let him put a session on. He might become an assistant to the under-8s. Mm-hmm. Go. Offer your services for nothing.
Perfect. That's a great bit of advice as well. It's not just to him, it's sort of anyone that wants to get into management. So I'll make sure that sort of gets back to him. So, last section, we do this with every guest. You are only our second guest. But this is the section where we managed to get Shay to say that Kai is a baby, which was obviously a big headline from the last one, which was quite fun. Tom's actually taken one of the quickfire questions already, so you've only got 4, so it's a bit easier for you. Quickfire questions. Here we go. So, toughest dressing room?
Wimbledon.
Who'd play you in a movie about your career?
Probably Brad.
Brad Pitt. One thing modern football gets wrong?
Playing good football badly. Rolling it out of the edge of your box, giving it back to the goalkeeper. The only reason goalkeepers are goalkeepers is because when they were kids, they were useless on pitch and got told to go in goal. Now they're having more touches than anybody else. When I was brought up, you didn't risk the ball in and around your own box. And unfortunately, football's cyclical, and that's the best teams can do it and still make mistakes. So you have to limit the opportunity to give the opposition a chance in and around your box.
Yep. And last one, the only thing that modern football gets right, one thing.
Fitness, conditioning, and technical stuff has moved on. When you look at old 70s flicks and Pele and stuff like that, their ability and their physiques weren't up to what they are now. Now, put them into this environment, they would have thrived as well. I'm not saying they were any worse or any better, but they just didn't have the facilities to do that. Some of the players from all those years ago would have been fantastic with the facilities that we have now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your time.
And by the way, when you said the thing about the film,
yeah.
What about the film? Do you see my film, The Mean Machine? I was the football choreographer on that.
Were you?
So tell the guys to watch that. And I had a speaking part in it, featured artist.
I'm going to have to rewatch that now. I'm definitely going to have to rewatch that. I need to find a clip of that as well, definitely, for sure. But yeah, it's been a real pleasure, Wally. Thank you so much for sort of taking your time out to speak to us. Like I said, it's been an honour for me, obviously, growing up, obviously watching you at West Ham and everything like that. And yeah, you're doing a great job at Lions.
Was you there when we got beat 6-1 by West Ham at Wimbledon in the cup replay?
Yeah, I wasn't there, but I was watching, yeah.
We drew at home on the Saturday and we played you on the Tuesday night. And after 2 minutes, there was a back pass. Me and Paul Fishington ran through and had a little bobble with Parksy and the ball was trickling towards the West Ham goal. So we chased it, got to it, put it in, and like run into the net. And and the fans were going nuts because they'd gone 1-0 down. And we were made a couple of gestures, put it that way, to the guys behind the goal. For the next 88 minutes, I got booed and heckled and slaughtered. And I was playing right wing. Fans, And in the second half, I was up by the chicken run. Jesus Christ, you've never seen a winger play so far infield.
Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. Well, yeah, thank you very much, Wally. Tom, have you got anything before, obviously, we say goodbye?
No, thank you very much for your time, Wally. It's been great to chat to you and hear more about your career, and it's really fascinating to hear how much work you do in the project at Lions. It's really cool.
Great, thanks for having me, boys.
Brilliant. Speak to you soon, Wally.
Cheers.
Cheers, bye-bye. If there was one sort of takeaway for you from that, what would it be?
Okay. Much he really enjoys working with young players, and how much he's really into the projects of it all, and how much it really, really means to him, actually. He seemed very, very passionate about it, which caught me off guard a little bit to an extent. So I was really impressed with that.
I think it's because he had those experiences. Obviously, when he started, he was the first apprentice, like he said, at Wimbledon, and you listen to all the opportunities that he got. You can imagine in this day and age, if someone breaks their leg 3 times, a club wouldn't continue to persist with them. They'd just sort of get rid, maybe even after the second one. But they kind of stuck with him, and it was just unfortunate that he left just before they won the cup final.
Bless him, yeah. Yeah, considering he is, like, the start of the crazy gang and, a big part of that kind of thing. But their main sort of, like, the thing they're known for is that cup win, right? And the fact that he just missed out on that is so frustrating for him, I'm sure.
Yeah, and he just the experience that he's kind of had all around it's just like I said to you, I could have sat and listened to him for hours and hours and hours, and just to let the listeners know, we will be getting him back on. Yeah. There are a lot of questions that we still have to ask. But obviously having him for an hour, we didn't want to take too much of his day, and kind of everything like that. But yeah, really, really interesting. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, what a guy.
So, one final bit before we say goodbye.
Yes.
I warned you about it earlier. So we are going to say our starting 11 for England in this World Cup if everyone was fully fit. And I want to see if we agree on this too. Have you been writing this down?
Literally, yeah, I need to write it down to sort of like get in my head who I want and where, sort of thing.
So I think there's some positions where I think we could just agree on straight away.
Okay, sure.
I think Pickford has to be in goal.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
He's not my favourite goalkeeper, but there just isn't anyone else I would want to have in the net instead.
Yeah, he's so solid for England, got a great track record for them, yeah. So he's got to be,
Well, did you see, so obviously yesterday was the game against Japan, where we lost 1-0, just so everyone knows when we record the pod. That's the first goal he's conceded as England goalkeeper for like 486 minutes.
Insane, right?
If you consider all the competitions and stuff that we've been in and everything, that's absolutely crazy. Striker, I think we can agree, kind of has to be Harry Kane.
Yes,
unless you disagree.
No, Harry Kane definitely, of course.
I think all the other ones, I think all the other ones you can contest. So I think those are the only 2 that we could say, yeah, absolutely, those are the starting. So what we'll do is we'll go position to position, and it'll be interesting to see what the listeners kind of think of it as well, because I think a lot of these positions, people are very, very like, no, this is who should be there, blah, 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 everything like that. So, right back. We'll take it in turns of saying the first person. I'm happy to go first, or do you want to go first?
Well, I think we'll be stuck between the 2 people here. For me, it's either Reece James or Trent Alexander-Arnold, and it just depends on how Tuchel wants to play and implement his style. And I suspect, given that Trent hasn't been involved in squads, he is more likely to go for Reece James. So I suspect, if he's fit, Reece James is the guy to be starting at right back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that fitness thing is the key thing, which is why I've kind of said if everyone was fit, it would kind of go this, because I think Reece James is the best right back England has, but his fitness record isn't great.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'd have Trent second. There's a couple of players kind of that I potentially... So Tino Livramento obviously didn't do himself any favours over the international period.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Tino goes, obviously, as that versatile... You know from FM, you want that person who can play left and right back on the bench that you can bring on just in case. But yeah, for me, got to be Reece James. Got to be Reece James at right back if he's fit. So 2 centre-backs. We'll say them as a pairing. This is where we might disagree. I think one we will agree on, and that's Gay.
Yeah, I was going to say he's my first choice, yeah.
And then this is the other one I think is going to be the contentious one if they're fit. So obviously, I would personally have John Stones.
Yeah.
If he's fit, but he's obviously not fit and he's not really been playing that much. But the one person I want to absolutely say I don't want to see start for England at centre-back is Ezri Konsa. You thought I was going to say Harry Maguire.
Yeah, because I was thinking, actually, I think I would kind of take Konsa as a starting centre-back. Yeah, I think I might do, just on the grounds that he has played virtually every game this season for Villa, right, I think. And they're doing really well this season, and he's in form because of that. So I wouldn't mind seeing Konsa be starting.
This is very, very controversial. I would rather have Harry Maguire start than Konsa. This is very, very controversial. I would rather have Harry Maguire start than Konsa.
Okay, interesting. I mean, Harry Maguire's got a great England track record, to be fair.
There is something that happens when he pulls on an England shirt.
Yeah.
And it says a lot that United have just signed him to a new contract as well. So they clearly see something in him there. He's very, very Marmite, Harry Maguire. But what you can't fault is when it's for England, he's been great.
Yeah.
And if Stones isn't fit, I would have Gahey and you would say Konsa then, even though I said I didn't want Konsa. I would have Gahey and Maguire.
Yeah.
I think what Maguire brings, where he can take it forward as well. You've seen it with his mazy runs. Obviously, we'll get to midfield after we've said left back, but with the defensively minded midfield players that we're probably going to have, he's going to have more of that opportunity to take a wander. So yeah, I do really disagree on something. Konsa, I seem to be the only person who doesn't like Konsa as a player, and I don't know why it is that I just when I've seen him play, especially for England, he's not been good in an England shirt when he has played for England.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of positions where there's going to be inexperience. So having someone like Harry Maguire there could really help. So left back.
Well, this is one of the areas where there is a lot of inexperience, I would say, at the moment.
Absolutely.
Because I think Luke Shaw is probably a bit past it now in terms of, he's obviously been England's left back for a long, long time, but I think it's probably sort of past his day now for that sort of thing. So you're passing it on to the next generation. So you've got players like Lewis Hall, you've got Miles Lewis Skelly, or Lewis Miles Skelly, I don't know which way around it is. Nico O'Reilly, obviously, at Man City. Yeah. I think they're all 21. And I think out of all of them, Lewis Hall is maybe the most established right now.
You say that, but obviously Nico O'Reilly's been starting pretty much every game for Man City, so technically at a higher level.
Yeah, true.
But this is the thing. So obviously I see pros and cons for Lewis Hall and Nico O'Reilly. But for me, one player takes the edge because they offer more than just being a left back. So I personally would go for Nico O'Reilly.
Okay.
You look at his goal scoring ability, which you've seen at City, obviously scoring 2 the other week. His height, I think, is a real advantage.
Yes.
England aren't great from corners, defending them. So having someone like Lewis Hall, who isn't the best in the air, it means, and if you've got Reece James at right back, that's 2 people who aren't great in the air. So you're relying on the 2 centre-backs to cover, with Harry Kane coming back and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen of Nico O'Reilly this season and what he offers, personally, I would be starting him.
Let's go Nico O'Reilly then. He'll start left back.
Oh, you're agreeing with me? I thought you were going to go Lewis Hall.
No, I'll agree with you on that, to be fair. You made a very good argument for him, actually. I do agree. Yeah. Let's go for him.
And then, so with the typical formation that Tuchel's been playing, we're looking at 2 DMs next.
Yes.
I think we'll be the same on this, but I'd be interested to hear what you think.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
Well, I find this quite difficult in a way because there are so many more attacking-minded midfielders that you feel like you have to fit into this team that I think one of them's got to sort of drop for it to sort of make work. So I think you'd probably have Bellingham play further up ordinarily, but to get him in the team along with other players, I think you play Bellingham a little deper in this situation and drop him down a little bit, I would say. So I'd probably start Bellingham in there alongside maybe someone like a Kobbie Mainoo.
Wow, no Declan Rice then?
Oh, I forgot about Declan Rice, didn't I? Declan Rice, sorry, alongside... I knew I'd forget someone. I was just trying to think of like who's in the England squad right now, but of course Declan Rice isn't, is he? He hasn't played in these last few friendlies. So yeah, Declan Rice definitely. And I'd probably
Declan Rice and Bellingham.
Yeah, I'd probably drop those 2 deeper and put them together. How about you?
So, Declan Rice, it pains me to say, obviously being a West Ham fan.
Yeah.
But he is just our best defensive midfielder. I would actually go Elliot Anderson, personally.
Yeah, I was thinking Elliot Anderson. He's a very, very good player and he's really coming a lot these past 2 seasons.
They really, really complement each other. When you've seen them play for England together, they just really, really suit each other's play style.
Yeah.
So when one goes up, one stays back. They're very much in sync with that. I think the risk of playing Bellingham at DM is, one, he doesn't have the ability to change the game from there as much. Two, he's not a very defensively minded player.
No.
I think, like I said, with our centre backs for me are our weakest position out of our whole team.
Okay.
Our defence potentially as a whole, if you look at the inexperience and whatnot. Yeah. So having two very good defensively minded DMs helps cover that. Yes. So that's why I'd kind of go for those two. But yeah, interesting. So number 10. So obviously the attacking midfielder, that's where I'd put Bellingham for me.
Yeah, so I was thinking I'd put Cole Palmer there probably. That's where I'd be playing Palmer.
Have you watched Cole Palmer this year?
Look, I know he's not been as good as he has been in recent years, but he's still got that sort. He has no pressure. He doesn't feel pressure at all. I mean, these kind of World Cup situations, I think you need someone like that in a team who's just chilled. So I really play Cole Palmer.
Yeah, I quite like him coming off the bench though, because he has more of an ability to change the game from that. So Cole Palmer is very hot or cold. He always has been, even in his cold, the pun that I put in that.
Yeah.
Throughout his whole career, even when he's had his great ones, he's either there or he's not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's just one of those players that has a massive impact or has no impact. So for me, having him come off the bench, which he has for England, obviously in previous tournaments, he's changed the game when he's come on. Yeah. And I don't think we have many of those big game changers. What we have with England sometimes, particularly if you look at the Euros and even the World Cup before that, is we can be 0-0 with 5 minutes left and we need someone to come and take the ball by the horns, like Jude Bellingham did with his overhead kick to draw us level. Ollie Watkins coming off the bench to score, even Tony coming off the bench to score, all of these sorts of things. We typically find ourselves in these positions a lot.
Yeah.
So I want the bench there to be game changers. So that's why, for me, Cole Palmer would be on the bench.
I see your reasoning behind that. No,
and then
sense.
Yeah, and then Bellingham at number 10. So he can... Bellingham, though, for England particularly, so this is a debate in itself. We'll probably save this for another pod. But I love it when someone has an ego in football. I love it. And Bellingham has that. So that really, really frustrates some people. But I kind of like that that's part of his game, because I always think that the most elite players have that little click of ego. And
you have to. I think you have to be at that kind of level. And the fact he's playing week in, week out for Real Madrid shows he is one of the best players in the world. So I think he has to be starting, yeah.
Absolutely. So this is going to be the most contentious one. We've obviously got striker, so we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Right wing.
I'm a little bit biased on the grounds he was at loan at Lincoln City, but I'll put Morgan Rogers there.
Morgan.
Yeah. I thought you might.
Obviously, most people would say Saka. But if you look at the stats, I actually looked this up because I was talking to my mates about this before. The last 3 or 4 seasons, Jared Bowen his goal contributions have either equalled or been better than Saka every single season.
Yeah, okay.
In a team like West Ham, who aren't typically scoring the most goals and everything like that. So just his ability to do that. And a lot of those seasons, Bowen's actually been playing as striker. Because so when we brought in Skamaka, Skamaka didn't play, and then Bowen ended up playing a striker, which he's out of position, and we're still able to pull in those numbers. I know people are going to come for me and say Saka has to be right wing, but Saka in an England shirt frustrates me to absolutely no end.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, even for Arsenal, I don't understand why everyone thinks he is clearly a very, very good player. But if you look at contributions and kind of everything like that, he's nothing special. And in that Arsenal team, you should be, look at the attacking talent they've got and their midfield and their defence and everything. You should be pulling in incredible numbers. But yeah, that's enough on Saka.
I think if I was thinking with my unbiased head, I'd put Saka, but in my biased head for this, I'm going Morgan Rogers.
Morgan Rogers should definitely be on the plane. I just don't know if he's starting for me. Again, he could come on and absolutely change a game. So he's another incredible player to have on the bench.
Yeah.
I will be honest, though, I don't think Bowen gets on the plane.
I think it'd be a big ask, wouldn't it?
I think the way that Tuchel's setting out with the players that he's playing, I don't think he takes Bowen, and I think that's a real shame for England. Bowen's never really been given an extended chance for England.
Not really, no.
I don't really know if that's because of who he plays for. We've had it before where West Ham players haven't typically got into the England fold because they play for West Ham.
Yeah,
even Declan Rice. So when we had Declan Rice wasn't a nailed-on starter for England or anything. There's a lot of games that he didn't end up playing. Moves to Arsenal. Now he's like the first name on the sheet.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's just the way that English football works. So left wing, I'm still not sure of.
Oh well, for me, I think he's had a bit of a resurgence at Barcelona. I think he had a really good season there as well. So I would happily put Marcus Rashford there.
I think if I had to choose anyone on that left wing, it would be Rashford. I know that Tuchel's probably going to favour Gordon. I think who he's been sort of playing out on that left wing, hasn't he? But Rashford, I've rated Rashford from day one. Obviously, I've watched him play live, and he just has something. He's done it for England as well. Like, he's done it in tournaments before. Obviously, let's not talk about his penalty record for England. Obviously, in major moments. But yeah, I think it has to be Rashford for me.
Yeah,
I didn't expect us to agree on a lot of this.
Yeah, we got pretty close actually, to be fair, on that. But maybe we're just both elite managers. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we do. So I suppose the final question to obviously see out this section, and obviously before we end the pod, a prediction on how we do in this World Cup and who you think will do well in this World Cup.
It's tough, isn't it? I think with it being a bigger World Cup and there being more opportunities for us to slip up, I think and with a different manager in charge as well, who is doing something very different to Southgate, which has worked very well in previous years. I'd be surprised if we had the same level of success, if I'm honest with you. I think it's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? But quarterfinals might be as good as it gets for England, potentially, in this World Cup. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I'm not going to hold out too much hope when it comes to that. I think in terms of overall winners, it's very difficult to look past France again, because they just have so much quality.
They really do.
Team. It's just unfair, the amount of amazing players that they bring through all the time. So they'll be really, really good. And I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Mexico go fairly far. I don't think they'll win it, but with it them hosting the World Cup, and having, it'll be like what?
Not America then.
No, I don't think America or Canada have got the ability to really go too far. But if any of the host nations are going to go far, I think Mexico, particularly with them playing all their games in Mexico,
they've got the pedigree, don't they, to sort of do well. They've never done awful.
No, it's the thing. I think they're a very good team. I think maybe they're not as good as they have been in World Cups gone by, for example. But you don't necessarily need to have the greatest teams. If you've got that home crowd behind you, think back to South Korea in 2002. They got to the semi-finals, right?
That's such a good point. Obviously, South Korea came out of absolutely nowhere that tournament.
Yeah, and I think it was a little bit different, obviously, as well in the last World Cup for Saudi Arabia, who was in Qatar. But again, a lot of the players in the stadium, fans in the stadium were Arabs and supporting teams around them. Although the geopolitics maybe and the religious side of things different with that region. Still, Saudi beat Argentina before they went on to win the World Cup, and a large part of that would have been to do with the crowd, I imagine, as well. So home crowd is a huge impact when it comes to World Cups and tournaments. So
is that like your underdog pick?
Yeah, my underdog pick would be Mexico, I think, definitely. And I would not be surprised if France go to the final and get themselves winning it.
Yeah. It'd be a shame because I don't like France that much. But I suppose that's I think they're one of England's biggest rivals if you look back to like 98 and sort of everything like that. They've always been a thorn in our sides. That's probably why. So to be fair, I'm quite similar to you in the fact that I think this is going to be the tournament that we don't perform in.
Okay.
I think our squad now is arguably one of the worst that we've had. We've got Harry Kane, who's obviously smashed it in for Bayern Munich, but he's getting older now. This might be his last elite international tournament. Obviously, you've got the Euros in 2 years. It'll be interesting to see what he's like in 2 years.
Yeah.
I think our defence just aren't... I think this is the worst defence we've had in my lifetime.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Well, if you look at what we've had... I was going to say Gary Neville there, but no. We've had Terry, Rio Ferdinand, John Stones Prime, all of these players. Whereas now we've got like Mark Gay and Ezri Konsa potentially as our starting centre-backs. There's just different levels to it. Obviously, I hope I'm proven wrong. But yeah, I think quarterfinals, I could see that being, depends where we end up, because obviously there's a lot more teams in it. So it'd be interesting to see how it splits after the groups. We might even finish second in our group as well. Obviously, Ghana have just sacked their manager, which I think is going to help the preparation for us. Who else have we got in our group? So it's Croatia, Ghana, and Panama, isn't it?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. We always get Panama in the World Cup.
We
which
do,
is
don't
just
we?
madness.
We seem to always...
I remember lots of games against Panama. So yeah, I think quarterfinals is probably the best we can hope for. Obviously, I hope we go on and win it to prove me wrong. Our predictions aren't very good anyway, so maybe we're completely in the wrong. But yeah, for me, there's two teams that I think have the best squad. You've got France, obviously. Everyone knows that. But Portugal, I think people are sleeping on a little bit. I can't really call them an underdog, particularly. But you look at every position Portugal has, they've got world-class players in every single position.
Yeah.
So left back, they've got Nuno Mendes, the best left back in the world. You've got Ruben Diaz at CDM. You've got Diogo Costa in goal. You've got Rafael Leao. You've got Ronaldo still playing, who can still do it. You've got Bernardo Silva. You've got all of these players that I can't even think of at the top of my head. Vitinha. Yeah. All of these players who are playing at the absolute top level. So yeah, they'd be my. If I had to pick one, I'd pick Portugal. Underdog, I think America.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know if I'm slightly biased. So one of America's strikers, I don't know if he'll start, is Patrick Agyemang, who plays for Derby County. Mm-hmm. So he scored the other day for America. So I want America to do well, because then Patrick Agyemang will be sold for a higher fee, which means that our build up in the summer will be great. So that would kind of be my
wishful thinking, but I like it. I like the thought behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Tom, thanks so much. This has been a longer episode. We've obviously spent a lot of time discussing a lot of things, but yeah, I've really, really enjoyed it.
It's been good fun, and let's do it again soon.
Yeah. Perfect. So, yeah, thank you very much, Tom. Let's see how our predictions go this time. Next time, I think will probably be after the Lincoln Red Imps game when we'll do this, potentially around that time. So it'll be interesting to see where we stand then and whether our predictions will be correct. And then we might even know who wins the World Cup, because obviously our predictions are always right or wrong. So
exactly,
we'll be able to guess. But yeah, thank you very much for your time. This has been Uncaged, and we'll see you next time.